Okay, post-mortem on the loss, um, which I predicted. I mean, I did pick the Vikings to lose this game. Picked them to lose a close game. In fine fashion, they always manage to find a way to do it and tear your fucking heart out of your chest. There's like the immediate reaction, the emotional. I'm devastated that they lose. And then there's also the realistic reaction, which is they weren't going to run the table. I mean, as nice as the Dobbs story is, and just the fact that they, had rebounded from 0-3 and 1-4 and losing JJ and all this stuff, um, you know, and have been in a playoff. I mean, they've been in a playoff spot now for a couple of weeks, and they're still in a playoff spot. You know, they weren't going to win 12 in a row into the playoffs. That's just not. It just wasn't going to happen. I think this is a good team. I don't think they're nearly enough of a good team to ever do that. I mean, even most good teams don't do that. I mean, most good teams aren't going to have win streaks like that in the season. It's just the teams lose. Like, this was a road game against an okay team that has certainly played much better lately. I mean, this is their third straight game for them that they've beaten a team with a winning record, or a team that had a winning record. I guess. Yeah, actually, Buffalo has a winning record again because they won today. So yeah, 3 straight wins. They're playing better. Like, you were like, oh, Denver gave up 70 points to Miami. Well, that was a long time ago. When Denver was giving up 70 points to Miami, the Vikings were 0-3, I think. The Vikings were buried. So, they're different teams now. So, I don't think this loss does too much to hurt the Vikings' playoff chances. Certainly doesn't help in any way any hopes of still winning the division. That's going to be really, really tough now. I mean, and again, I didn't think they were going to probably do it anyway. Like, I don't know, whatever their odds might have been, 20% maybe coming into the week to still maybe win the division. We saw the afternoon, Detroit should have fucking lost, but the Bears completely choked. The Lions are just having a charm season, which everything goes their way. It's like, throw your hands up. What are you going to do? If this was probably the week that ended the NFC North race, realistically, because we were so close. Like, if we win and Detroit had lost, we would have been a half a game out of the division, with the 2 games against them still coming. And if we had won, we would have jumped to the 6th seed because Seattle lost. It's frustrating. And Green Bay should have lost today, and then they win at the end. It's like, this was a very frustrating Sunday in terms of results that almost went the right way and that didn't. But yeah, realistically, they weren't going to run the table. They were probably going to lose a game. They're probably still going to lose a couple more games, And if that's going to happen, hey, lose to an AFC team. This really does not even hurt them for the playoffs. Their playoff odds might have gone up. Now, they would have gone up to, I think they showed it on the pregame, they would have been like a 94% chance to make the playoffs if they had won this game. But even with a loss, it didn't knock them down. They're still 80%. Their odds might have gone up today because Tampa lost and Washington lost, a couple of teams behind them in the wild card. And you know, it sucks though. You know, that's the realistic side of it. The realistic side that I still very much think this is going to be a playoff team. I still think they can be a very dangerous playoff team. Dangerous to themselves, maybe, but also dangerous to who they play. You know, oh man, it just sucks, man. It's a winnable game. I mean, all these they've all been winnable. Every loss they've had this year has been winnable. You know, this isn't as bad as like that Charger game. Especially seeing what the Chargers have become this season. Chargers are not good at all, and they've blown games to everybody else in the division. Or I guess they beat the Bears, but you know, I gotta start focusing. But yeah, I don't think this hurts us much for the playoffs. I still think there's a very, very good chance to make the playoffs. I think they'll beat the Bears Monday night this week. Then they get the bye. Boy, has it ever been better to have the late bye? Because now they'll be able to rest up. That's one of the reasons I thought they would lose this game, because Jordan Hicks out, Caleb Evans out, JJ still out. You know, but the defense. I mean, you wouldn't have known really that they were missing their, their rock in the middle there in Jordan Hicks. You wouldn't have known they were missing, a much improved Caleb Evans, because the defense was great until the very, very end. And it's not like, oh, we just forget about what happened on the last drive because they did so well the rest of the game. But I mean, the dam's going to break eventually. They made a couple of really good plays on that last drive. I thought the touchdown, it was going to be intercepted. Blackman might have had a chance if he couldn't tell if he kind of misjumped the timing or just maybe didn't see the ball and didn't jump in the right spot. But it was deja vu. It was deja vu from that Seattle, I think it was also a Sunday night game, 3 years ago, where we were so close to finally beating Seattle in Seattle. And ironically, the key mistake in that game was also Alexander Madison. And then at the very, very end, we let Russell Wilson drive the field on us and beat us. That was like literally at the end. It might have been like the last 10 seconds. And it was deja vu. It was the same damn thing. You contain him for the whole game, and what sucks on this is Russell Wilson. I mean, it was very obvious to me watching this game. He is just I guess just the results since he went to Denver have not been very good, but he's a shell of what he used to be. I mean, he doesn't run anymore. Like, there were times in this game where like the old Russell Wilson runs all over the place on us. This time he just couldn't make plays and threw it away or got sacked or whatever. And to get beat by, like, I'm not going to call him washed up, but very much in decline, Russell Wilson, to get beat by him at the end is very disappointing. But I'm not mad about the defense overall. You can't be. We got some sacks. And then they did a very good job, on Wilson, containing him. They certainly didn't run very much on us. I don't know what their rushing total was. I know the first half they really didn't run on us. And there were the 2 times after the two Dobbs turnovers that the defense was put in terrible spots. And I think both times they forced like 3 and outs for field goals. I mean, this game could have been somewhat lopsided if the defense didn't come to play in this game. And they let them drive on them a couple times, but then they held and forced field goal. they did their job. I'm not too mad about it. There weren't too many standout moments really from the defense where I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Blackman got burned a couple times on that one drive, but it wasn't like egregious or anything. Hunter got a sack. I think Wanham got a really good sack in there. Anthony Barr played, and he actually had one pretty important tackle on like a third down. Metellus almost had that pick. It's one of those things like especially when you're 0-3 in the turnover stat. Boy, if he gets that one pick in the end zone, I think they got a field goal there. Maybe take 3 points off the board for them. Like maybe you're going to OT or something. It sucks. And there was the fumble. I think it was on that last drive where someone stripped the ball out, but it went out of bounds just before it could be recovered. It's like the PTSD that's the shit that was going on in like September and early October with this team, where all the breaks, all the the fumble luck, all of it was going against us. And there was none of that. It all went against us today. Like the Dobbs fumble, maybe in a different game that the ball doesn't go right into the hands of someone from Denver. The Madison fumble basically went right into the hands of somebody from Denver. It's just like, it sucks. But I'm not mad about the defense in this game. I think the defense, they did their part. Can't turn it over 3 times, and this will not be like a shit on Joshua Dobbs video, because I think he's done admirably since he's gotten here. And I think you still have to be realistic about what he can do. He's still only been here for a couple of weeks. I don't think he was good in this game. I don't think he was good. I mean, his numbers were not terrible, but he looked really rattled, and he wasn't getting out of the pocket effectively. And when he wasn't making good throws in a lot of cases. Even on like that last futile drive, like why the hell are you even bothering to throw like a 5-yard pass, in the field of play? Like just don't. I didn't think the play calling was good in this game at all. The number one GOAT for this game is Kevin O'Connell. I don't know what. It's a plague with like coaches, where if it's like, hey, it's 3rd and 1 or even 4th and 1, so many of these coaches, and Kevin O'Connell has been guilty of this so many times in his year and a half here. They won't do just the simple thing, the easy thing, because they want to show off, and they want to show how creative and smart and what a genius they are. So they want to run all these other stupid plays, like the first drive of the game, the first fumble. Like the play itself, the play call itself, like, okay, we're going to have Hawkinson take the snap and then pitch it to Dobbs. Well, like, why even do that? Why not just have Dobbs take the snap and run? I don't think they had, I'm not sure they had a single designed Dobbs run in this entire game. Where he took the snap anyway. Like, I don't know why. Why? Why are you not utilizing utilizing this guy's legs? I mean, he can run, and like the 2 touchdowns that they got tonight were really like, they seem to be pretty much improvised plays. I mean, the first one, they're running him. I hate those plays where they're running a guy to the quarterback to the sideline, and they're cutting off the field of play, because if you run him to the side, he's only got a little bit of the field to work with. Thought he was going to get sacked, got out of it, and then flipped the pass to Oliver for the touchdown. It was a very, very good play. I don't know if that was the design play. Doesn't seem like it. It seemed like it was just something he was kind of, figuring out on the fly, and then obviously the second touchdown was a run, and I don't think that was, and certainly don't think that was a designed run, but he was decisive, saw the opening, took off, and scored. That's that's your quarterback just improvising a play. That's not O'Connell calling something. Why is my light flickering like that? Let me just turn it off. Don't need the light. Anyway, but I mean, so many of these, short yardage plays. It's like, and this has been a pet peeve of mine. This is a pet peeve of mine in college, pro, other teams. If I watch them, it's like 3rd and 1, and you're taking a snap out of shotgun. Why? Just sneak the fucking ball. I mean, the Eagles, just as an example, all they do is run fucking tush push on every short yardage play, every single game, and it works almost every single time. It's the simplest fucking play in the world, but it becomes like this famous play because they actually just doing something very, very simple, just doing it well, becomes this like revelation because no one wants to do it anymore. Nobody wants to just run the simple play and just move the chains. It's like it's always got to be some bullshit, weird play call of like, look how smart I can be. And this was a problem last year, and it's still a problem now, and it just drives me nuts. And I didn't, there were a couple drives in this game where we're just gashing them on the ground, even Madison, and we'll talk about Madison some more, but, we're just gashing them on the ground. Denver's run defense is bad, and we're gashing them on the ground, and then he goes away from the run game to put the ball in the hands of Dobbs, but to keep Dobbs in the pocket. What are you doing? I don't understand. Like, if you just call plays in a simple manner, in a simple, obvious manner, they win this game. And it was very obvious, certainly by the second half, that Dobbs was rattled, that he wasn't playing well, that he, whether it was confidence, whatever, whether it was something specific that Denver was doing. I mean, I didn't think the pass protection was, when they were actually, running pass plays, I didn't think the pass protection was very good in this game at all, but, and there were quite a few plays where it was just like a jailbreak, and they were just, they were just letting everybody through on Dobbs, and a few times he was able to scramble away and kind of make something of it, but, I mean, even that last drive, there were a couple of plays where they're just bursting through. I didn't think the offensive line was good at all in pass protection this game. Run blocking, sure, they were pretty good. Again, so why not continue to feed that? Madison, again, we'll get to it. He had like 80 yards, and Chandler had like 70, and a lot of that was on that fake punt. But he had a pretty good average. When something's working, just stick with it until they stop it, until they make you stop. Keep with it, because stuff wasn't happening through the air in this game. Hawkinson made a couple plays. There was that nice one where he got wide open and Dobbs got it to him, and Addison made a couple plays, and there was, I think, a pretty big one to Oliver one point, but there wasn't a whole lot in the pass game. I mean, it just wasn't there. And hell, Dobbs was lucky he didn't throw a couple picks. There were a couple more picks because he threw a couple passes in this game that, I mean, they weren't dropped interceptions, but there was one he threw into like quadruple coverage and it should have been picked and it wasn't. Like, it was a rough game for him, and it's okay. I've already seen people saying, "Oh, we need to go back to Jaren Hall." Well, first of all, maybe we do at some point. Maybe we do go back to. Maybe we do see again about Jaren Hall. But I mean, I certainly ain't. I'm not bailing on Josh Dobbs after one shaky game. I'm certainly not bailing on him until we at least get to see him play with Justin Jefferson, which I bet we will next week. I suspect that hammy is going to suddenly be good to go. I think they were, I think they've just been kind of stringing that along until, maybe the win streak ended. Well, the win streak's over, so now, and you gotta beat the Bears next week. So Jay's going to be back next week. You can bet on that. But no, you're not going to go back to Jaren Hall. Maybe we will at some point. Of course, Nick Mullins was technically QB2 in this game. I don't think, if you put Nick Mullins in this game, they win. I think Dobbs, under all the circumstances right now, he's still the guy who gives you the best shot to win. But not with some of this play calling. Like, I don't get it. Like, Kirk Cousins, yeah, you're going to call a game where he's in the pocket because he's a pocket passer. I don't know why you're trying in this game to basically turn Josh Dobbs into a pocket passer. Like, get him out in space. He's already done it for 2+ games for you. Like, get him out there and let him make plays. He's not. He's going to be able to do some stuff for you. The interception that he had, where he was in the pocket, and I think it was Chandler didn't really pick up the blitz. He gets hit as he throws. I mean, it was a jump ball, but that happens because he's in the pocket. And by later in the game, it was very obvious that the pass protection was not there, and KOC is still not getting him out in space. Take advantage of the athleticism of your quarterback and get him the hell out of the pocket and let him make some plays. And if there's not stuff down the field, well, maybe he can just keep running for 4 or 5 yards every play, and that works too. It's just I'm baffled by some of the decision making from KOC. I know a lot of people were ripping him for the one. There was one where it was just inside the 50. I think this was in the first half, and he punted instead of going for it. I didn't hate that at the time because it was kind of already looking like it's going to be kind of a defensive game. Obviously, didn't work out with the punt because we've been burned on that a couple times this year where we punt and it's a touchback, and then they get right back to where we've punted from right after. It's so we didn't really gain anything from doing it. But the lack of aggressiveness is a problem. I mean, certainly that last drive, and he was aggressive with the fake punt. I mean, I certainly didn't expect them to fake punt it. I mean, where were they at, their own 30 or something like that? And I'm looking down to tweet something, and then and then they're saying, "Oh, fake punt," and I'm like, "What?" And Chandler's running all over the place, that was an incredibly gutsy play, because if that doesn't work, you're handing them the lead at that point. They were going to have the lead because they were already going to be in field goal range. And then I think there was another fourth down then later in that series too, a 4th and short, and they went for it. And I think it was just a QB sneak like that. Finally, they did a QB sneak, and then but then we played conservative again. And I knew it. I tweeted it. I tweeted it before it happened. I knew it was going to happen. We're going to kick a field goal, and we're going to lose 21-20. I even said 21-20 because I was like, you know what? Well, they won't give up the 2, because what's going to be worse than a 3-point loss? A 1-point loss. Well, that's what happened. I had a vision. I didn't want to believe it, but they get in these spots. I don't know what it is with this red zone stuff. They keep struggling in the red zone. A lot of it is they get in like the red zone, and then immediately what do? Hand it off up the middle to Alexander Madison, and out. Yeah, look. All right, I guess this is the Madison portion. We're already 25 minutes in before I talk Madison. He ran well in this game. This was by far, I think, his best game of the season, except for the one play. You know, he ran hard. Like he actually broke initial contact a few times. I couldn't believe it. It's like, sure that's Alexander Madison? But that fumble, I mean, like, and again, here's the realistic. We're talking about the emotional. We'll go to the realistic. Any running back who gets, or really any player at all, of any kind, who gets as many touches as Madison does, is gonna fumble from time to time. That's going to happen. People used to freak out about Adrian Peterson fumbling. Well, he touched the ball 30 to 35 times a game. He's gonna fumble once in a while. It's gonna happen, And if you've got Madison getting all these touches every game, eventually there's going to be a fumble, and there's never going to be like a good time to fumble. This was a really bad spot to fumble, because you're up 17-9. Your defense is playing lights out. You're driving. They're like, what were they? They were inside the. They were definitely in Denver territory, and they might have even been. I think they were already in field goal range. I mean, who knows what field goal range is with Greg Joseph? But they were already in a position where they could, if they didn't gain another yard, could have gone up 2 scores. And now look, we don't know for sure that they win the game if Madison doesn't fumble there, but I'm willing to bet that they win the game if Madison doesn't fumble there. It was, Denver was just, they didn't have a lot of life to them. The Vikings seemed to be in complete control. They were running the ball very well. And then he puts the ball on the ground. And look, I saw on the replay, it really wasn't even like a forced fumble. He just fucking dropped the ball. Maybe it was hit a little bit, but I mean, it just can't happen. It can't happen. Like, you're in complete control. You're about to go up 2 scores. It might be ball game, and maybe you even keep the drive going and get a touchdown, and then you're up. Then you'd be up, 24-9, and it's really over. And he puts the ball on the ground. It just can't. This can't happen. This turnover thing, And I think wasn't it just last week they had their first game all year without a turnover. Now they're right back to the being 3-0 against. It's just, it can't happen. You can't do it. What I see that they've had 3 games this year where they've been minus 3 in the turnover, and they've lost them by like 10 points combined. That's the difference between this team being, I still think solidly a wild card, and maybe being in a position to win a division and maybe have a high seed and really do something, Big Ten in the playoffs. Because you can't stop turning the ball over, and so many of these turnovers are barely even forced errors. It's just, and you could tell like the momentum, because you have these plays and there's these huge momentum plays, and you could tell like, and then the defense, gave up a few plays. I think that might have been the drive where Blackman got torched a couple times. And they stopped him for a field goal, so that's good. But the momentum was all gone, and then the very next play that they ran on offense, or not, I guess technically they had a penalty first, and then next play, and then they don't get the blitz pickup, and Dobbs gets his arm hit, and it's picked off, and I mean when that happened, to me, when that happened, I was like, this game's over. We've lost. Now, again, the defense did their part. they went above and beyond and preserved the lead for a while. And I thought, that last drive, maybe they could have, if you score a touchdown on that last drive, and if you get the PAT, which is always dubious with Joseph, the game's over. Could you be up 9? You'd be up 2 scores. But the play calling and the conservative approach, like, it's weird. It's almost like he was showing too much faith in Dobbs and then not enough at the same time. But it's just, it's just so frustrating. This was such a winnable game. This one and the Charger game are the 2 big ones that you completely gave away this year. Tampa game too, but that one you were kind of trailing for a lot of the snap. This one and the Charger, you just gave these games away. You were just absolutely gave them away, and it's so fucking annoying. But again, I don't think Dobbs is going to be like on a short leash. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll keep the job. I mean, if he has a game where he's got like a whole bunch of turnovers, and he had obviously a couple turnovers in this one, but he had a couple issues with the snaps. I don't know why he was having issues with the snaps. Maybe Bradbury's got the butt sweat going again. I don't know what's going on there, but I don't know if it was just like the prime time thing. I mean, I haven't heard anyone blame this prime time loss on Kirk Cousins yet, but I'm sure someone's thinking about it. And number 8, I mean, the Vikings win this game with Kirk Cousins. I don't have any real doubt about that. People are like, but he can't make the plays that Dobbs can make. No, not the running plays, but he would make better throws and some better decisions. And I thought that even the last 2 weeks, that like these would have been easier wins if he had Kirk. How soon people forget that Kirk Cousins was playing some of the best football of his entire career. And he had just, lit up the 49ers and was playing a terrific game against the Packers. How soon people forget. But, I don't think it's the worst thing to kind of have a little realistic, slap of reality come back into play regarding Dobbs. He's fine. He's still worth believing in. I still think Dobbs will play well against the Bears. I think he will play well in other games. But even Case Keenum, just to bring up one, even he was not superb every game. They didn't win every game with Case Keenum. It's not realistic. It's the emotional, the realistic. It's the two halves fighting, trying to, it sucks to lose this game, but again, I don't think this is not a season-killing loss. It's a very frustrating loss that they shouldn't have lost. I'd rather the Vikings be what the fuck would their record have been? 7-4. I'd rather they were 7-4 than 6-5 right now, but I think they will beat the Bears, and then they'll have the bye, get healthy, at least in some cases. I guess Hicks is going to be out for 4 games because they put him on IR, but get some guys back. I mean, hell, their injury report this week had like 15 guys on it. And that's not even counting guys on IR. So, I think obviously Hawkinson needs rest too. I think they were giving him kind of a rest for a while. They kind of put him back. He wasn't even in there for a lot of the game. Then they put him back in there kind of late, and he did make a couple catches. People were mad at him that he didn't catch a couple of those passes at the very, very end. I'm glad he dropped those because those were stupid throws. Why are you throwing 5-yard passes in the field of play when you're trying to drive for a field goal? Yeah, not much else. I mean, what did I forget? What did I forget to mention? I can't have forgotten much. I've been going for 35 minutes. Late. It's a fucking night game, man. being later next Monday. Winnable game. I don't think. It sucks to lose to Sean Payton too. God, what an asshole that guy is. And of course, they had naturally Sean Payton team got some dirty hits. There was one that wasn't. Actually, there were a couple that just weren't called. Like, hey, player safety matters. Well, we're gonna let Dobbs get hit with the helmet on that opening fumble, and then there was the Madison play where he got. I think it was helmet to helmet or something. Frustrating shit. There was also like a late hit that for some reason was not called. I think it was on a punt return. But the refs didn't really influence this too much. It's just this was a self-inflicted loss for the most part. Very avoidable loss. Very frustrating. But I was inconsolable for about 10 minutes, and then the realistic part of the brain came back in. Like they weren't gonna run the table. They're still gonna get in the playoffs. They probably weren't gonna catch Detroit anyway because nothing is going against Detroit all season. So, but those frauds will get what's coming to them in January. Perhaps at our hand, even. I know nobody wants to be like, "Ooh, hey, we're gonna be a wild card," woo! But I think actually that is something to shoot for, considering where this season started, and I think they will get there. And I think I think I've said all I gotta say. I mean, what's left to say, man? Who even? Who's even gonna listen to this for 40 minutes? I'm tired. It's been a long day. I'm drained, and so we'll wrap it up. So yeah, what was it? 21-20. We lose. Win streak ends at 5, but still, that 5-game win streak has got us into a playoff position that I think we will keep. And I think we'll kick the Bears' ass next week and go into the bye. And then we got Raiders and the Burrowless Bengals out of the bye. Now, those are both on the road, but I think those should both be expected to be winnable games. And then we get the big one. We get the 2 Detroit games out of the final 3 with the nice home game against the Packers on New Year's Eve. Still scheduled for Sunday Night Football. We'll see if that holds. That's a long way off. But yeah, disappointing to lose this game. The bubble burst a little bit on Dobbs mania, but I think we can take a step back. He's still doing pretty good, and I think he'll still have some good moments. You just KOC, man, you gotta give your guy the best chance to win, and I don't think he did that tonight. So, but that's all I gotta say. If I've been talking way too long, and I've reached the rambling point. Once I reach the rambling portion of a video, that tells me that I need to stop. So we'll be back next Monday night, hopefully talking about a W.